Hi, and welcome to the weekly general reading for Monday, October 21st, 2019. Before I go on, I do want to say it doesn't have to be October 21st, 2019 for you to get something out of this video. This is a timeless reading. We're looking at the next 7 days, okay? So 7 days from when you watch this, and we're looking for themes, the general energy, what kind of dynamics we can find, and hopefully make some predictions for what's coming up for you this week, okay? That said, I'm going to go ahead and point out each pile, the number, and we'll name the piles here. So pile number 1 is the pink butterfly. Pile number 2 is the white butterfly. Pile number 3 is the purple butterfly. Pile number 4 is the green butterfly. Pile number 5 is a red butterfly, and pile number 6 is the blue butterfly. So while you guys are picking which pile you want to go with, just wanted to say, anything you need to know about me is in the description, okay? If you need to get a hold of me for whatever reason, my email's there, and you know, all of that good stuff. And just, you know, I just wanted to take a moment right now and tell you guys how much I appreciate all of the really great feedback, the comments, you know, the likes, the subscribes, and all of that. I'm really excited about the growth of this channel, and I'm really excited that we're bringing the content back. You know, I'm sure you guys are too, but I don't want to waste your time. Let's go ahead and you know, if you haven't picked out your pile yet, go ahead and pause the video. Otherwise, I'm going to start with pile number 1. All right. Hope you guys are having a good week so far. Okay, hi, pile number 1. Those of you who picked the pink pile. Okay, so we have the Ace of Pentacles, the Six of Pentacles, the Page of Wands. We have the Angel of Love. This is the general energy this week. Okay, and we have Divine Timing. That is the advice card this week. And we have the Ship, followed by the Clover for your Lenormand. All right, so the Ace of Pentacles here is talking about something new is going to be offered to you. And this is something having to do with the material world. I'm actually getting right now that it's actually probably not going to be money, but it's going to be a resource. It's like something that you guys can use. Something, you know, like, I don't know, for example, when we move to the house we're in right now, we really could use a riding lawnmower rather than a push mower because we have more land, that kind of thing. So it would be like something like that, something that you could use, something that would be, you know, maybe something that you know, kind of need, but you can't justify buying yet, but maybe it's going to just kind of fall into your lap, that kind of thing, okay? It could have to do with money. It could. But I think that for most of you guys, we're talking about just some physical, some kind of material item that's going to be offered to you, or you're going to maybe be gifted something like that, okay? So watch out for that, you know? And, you know, the resources, it could even be something like, you know, it could be resources like maybe if you have fruit trees or something like that, that you can now pick the fruit, you know, stuff like that, you know. It's like something new's coming, though. It's definitely a new thing. It's not something that you already have. With the Six of Pentacles, it kind of underscores that new energy, letting us know that it's going to balance things out for you guys. So that means that, you know, where things have been feeling kind of lopsided, you're going to be feeling a lot more like things are more fair because of this experience. It's going to be feeling like it might even be about balancing your checkbook, you know, that kind of thing. You know, it feels just like things are, you have more wiggle room, you know, than you have felt like you've had, okay? And if those of you who are watching this are like, well, I'm fine with money, you know, and all of that, but I guess I could use some things, you know. It's just, whatever it is, it's going to make you feel a lot more balanced, okay? With the Page of Wands here, we've got like some kind of gesture here of maybe passion or romance. Something it's very fiery. It could be a new creative idea coming in. Okay, it's now these are going to apply to each one of you in different ways. I'm not getting that this is necessarily a character. So I'm not getting that, for example, that there's going to be a new person in your life. You know, there might be, but I'm not getting that from this reading, right? What I'm getting from the Page of Wands is that you're going to be feeling like inspired to do something, and it might even be something that you wanted to do when you were a little bit younger, and now you're kind of like, oh, you know what, I have the ability to do that now. So you might want to kind of think about some of the things that you wish you had done earlier, and go ahead and do them now, that kind of thing. It would be something like, for example, my stepmother always wanted to learn how to play piano, and she recently retired, and the university in her town, lets her go there for free. And so she decided to take some music lessons. It'd be something like that. Something that you've always kind of wanted to do, but you hadn't gotten a chance to do it. That's the kind of energy that this is bringing. With the Angel of Love, though, that also lets us know that during this week, you are going to be feeling that connection to other people. You're going to be feeling like you really want to explore your connections with different people, and it doesn't have to be romantic. We're just talking about that heart energy, the compassion, the understanding. Of course, love implies romance and all of that kind of stuff. That's definitely going to be there for some of you guys that have picked this pile. But it's like this week is a very loving week for you. You're going to be feeling very good. I don't see anything negative here. The Divine Timing card comes up when it's like it comes up to let us know to keep our eye out for synchronicities. And it also comes up when we feel frustrated with the pacing of our lives. And that can go in either direction. Either it feels like we're, too much is being like put on us. It's like, gosh, slow down. I can't handle all of this stuff. Or maybe it feels like something isn't happening soon enough. The bottom line with divine timing is just to remember that life has their cycles, and there is some kind of order to that, and there is some kind of intelligent or presence with you right now that is helping to make sure things happen when they're supposed to, okay? And the best advice I can give you with this divine timing card is to just be very aware of synchronicities, okay? So here we've got something a little bit fun at the end here, and this doesn't really have a whole lot to do with the rest of this. The ship comes up when we're talking about traveling, and it can also come up with the like world economy, okay? Given that we have the Ace of Pentacles here, it could be that the gift, or whatever you're getting, is something that's foreign that maybe you've always wanted, okay? Or it's something from a foreigner. But for the rest of you, I feel like maybe you're planning some kind of trip. It doesn't even have to be a big one. It doesn't necessarily have to be like overseas or something like that, but like maybe a road trip, it could be one overseas, that kind of thing. And it's like there's something fortuitous. There's something kind of lucky about planning this trip this week, okay? So no matter when you're watching this, whatever movement you're thinking about making, and when I say that, I mean, even if you're gonna visit a town that's like 45 minutes away, for example, know that planning that now it's best to start planning it now, okay? As far as actually taking the trip, I think some of you will this week, but I get a more planning energy from it than I do of actually doing it. Also, you might want to check out airfare right now for some places where you've wanted to go, because you might get lucky here with how much it'll cost. And then again, with the Ace of Pentacles here, I just want to make sure that I'm clear. This could be anything that has to do with a foreign stock exchange, for example. And now I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm just saying, it could be like that. Or it could be something that you gain from a foreigner or from a foreign country. All right, guys? So this looks like a fun week. Divine timing is always fun when we get to spend some time looking for synchronicities too. Alrighty. Hi, pile number 2. Those of you who picked the white butterfly, here's your reading. Okay, so we have the Ace of Wands. So we've got a little bit of kind of passionate energy here, a little bit of fiery energy. But then we've got the Ten of Wands too. It's really interesting here because we have the beginning and the end here. When it comes to the pip cards, right? The Ace of Wands is talking about how there's going to be some kind of renewed or some kind of new energy that it's going to either have to do with like your love life or it's going to have to do with creative energy, okay? Because this is a really fiery, kind of passionate card. When we get all the way up to the 10, though, we've got a situation where, this can be a good or a bad thing, right? We've got a situation where he's got all of his stuff together and, it looks like he's going to take all of this stuff and go to the town and maybe sell it, so it's like the ideas come to fruition and now he's going to be able to do something with that. But this also warns against that kind of clinginess, that kind of obsessiveness. It kind of warns us not to cling too strongly to our passions, right? Because we don't want to do too much when it comes to that kind of creative expression. I'm sure, I can't be certain, but I'm sure that you guys can get the idea that sometimes when we get carried away with an idea or a thought or an impulse or anything like that, sometimes we can go a little bit too far and kind of become maybe ungrounded. And it just feels like this is something that for some of you guys, it's just warning against not taking it too far, just take it for what it is and enjoy that, and then we have the Knight of Swords here, which lets us know that somebody in your life might need to get a hold of you in the next 7 days. So it's like, it's telling us, make sure that you're keeping the lines open, make sure you're checking your email regularly, your text messages, your phone, whatever way that people get a hold of you the best. Make sure that those lines are open, because it just feels to me like somebody's going to have something important to tell you, and it's important to them. It's not necessarily important to you, but it would be important to them. And whatever that message is, whether it's done in person or if it's done through email, it's just a message that's they're really excited about sharing it with you. Okay, I'm getting for a lot of you guys this is going to be a romantic interest. Okay. We've got the Sun as your general energy this week. That's great. It's all about being happy. It's all about really enjoying the moment. It's also about just really, really nice things happening. It's pleasant. It's a very good card, a very positive card. Another aspect of the Sun is that it does shed light on things. So what we're talking about is maybe there's something that you haven't known about. Maybe for example, this is a common enough one. Sometimes we don't know how other people feel about us, right? And when the sun comes out, it's like, ooh, we can see what's been hidden in the shadows, right? So it might be an indicator that somebody's going to become a little bit more forthcoming with you about their feelings. Though it could just be any kind of information. It's just more accessible right now this week. So if there's anything that you're kind of like curious about in your life and you want to, figure something out, this week's going to be a good week to do it. Because the sun's out, things are clear. Okay. Um, I'm actually also getting that to tell you guys that this isn't literal, okay? Some of you guys are gonna still get rain, okay? This isn't a weather prediction. That's a silly thing to say, but that's what I got. I needed to tell you. So we also have expression, which makes sense with the Ace of Wands energy, okay? Expression, we're talking about, and I'm just going to go ahead and lay these down too. We also have the garden and the snake, which is a kind of like an aside to all of this. This is like a complete statement, and this is like, oh, and by the way. So the expression's talking about creativity, but it's also talking about putting things together, like organizing it. Look how balanced this is and how organized this is. It's kind of like, it's almost like a bouquet, you look for flowers that complement one another and all of that kind of stuff. And then when you put it all together, it just all blends really nicely, it's like that. At least that's the imagery I'm getting with this. Or maybe like if you're doing a quilting project or knitting or something like that, it would be like that. So the expression isn't like with all abandon, okay? It's not like that. It's like organized the way that you're going to talk. What I feel this is talking about more is about planning how you're going to express yourself rather than just being really spontaneous about it. Not to say that you can't be spontaneous about how you express yourself. Seriously, this could be a card that's coming up that's just letting you know, hey, it's time to say something, okay? But what I'm getting intuitively for this group is that this card's coming up because we've got the Ace of Wands, right? This new creative energy, that would you want to express that creative energy. You don't want to go too far though, and how you do that is by balancing things out. Like this card's very balanced. And the way you do that is, you write a first draft, you write a first draft, you start, tentatively, figuring out the melody for a new song you're going to write or the chord progression or something like that. Not all of us are artists, so it could mean, organizing something else. Like a lot of people express themselves through their clothes, for example. So it could be all about, maybe getting a couple of new clothes this week. It could be a lot of things, but it's just the way you express yourself. And I feel like it's really tied to this new creativity or this new passion in your life, okay? Now, for the last two cards, it's kind of interesting because we've got the garden. The garden represents a public space, okay? So this would be a place where you see a lot of people, obviously, a place like a mall or a shopping center, maybe at a big university, maybe, for some people go to really large religious ceremonies, like big churches, big synagogues and stuff like that. Some people, do, it could even be just a small group, but that's your public arena, okay? Because some people don't really, aren't really comfortable with around a whole lot of people, right? What this is telling us is that there's a snake in your public group, okay? And this isn't somebody that is a major player. Okay, this isn't somebody that's like in your inner circle so much. It's like there's some kind of troublemaker. And this person's gonna like try to instigate maybe, or maybe their presence is like really agitates you. What this is letting me know is that don't let just this one person or this one experience color your whole public experience, because this person is like, what they want is to get a reaction out of you, okay? So you can go one of two ways, basically. Either you can give them the reaction or you can ignore it, right? Now, I'm just going to be completely honest. If it was me, I would anticipate, okay, somebody's going to be trying to pull my strings, they're trying to, get me to act a certain way. They call it baiting on social media. They're going to try to bait me into responding. So I'm going to choose to react, but I'm going to choose to respond in a completely different way than maybe they're going to try to get me to respond. Because I just like to do stuff like that. I just like to surprise people. But sometimes I just have really low energy and I just don't want to deal with it, and sometimes it's better to ignore it. I think for most of you guys, it's going to be best to just try to ignore this. It's not going... One thing that's really interesting about this card that I'm getting intuitively with you guys is that it's not going to... This thing isn't going to destroy your public life, okay? Whatever is, whoever or whatever is, instigating or making you feel anxious for whatever reason, or making you feel vulnerable, like it's dangerous, right? This person doesn't have as much influence on your public life or on your socializing than you might think that they do. And that's the bottom line, okay? Because really, we've got lots of good stuff for you this week. This is a great reading for you guys. Really excited. Yeah. Okay, hi. Those of you who picked the third pile, the purple butterfly, here's your reading. Okay, so we have the 5 of Wands. We've got the 8 of Swords, and we have the Page of Cups. Before I go on, I do want to mention this is a lot of different kind of energy here. We've got the fire, the air, and the water energy here. Okay, we also have walking away. We also have gratitude. Okay, and we have the Scythe followed by the Key. Okay, so this is very clear to me. Which is good, but the message isn't the most uplifting one. Now, don't worry about it, because it's also not the worst. This isn't going to be like the worst week ever. I'm just saying that it's not the most uplifting. So let's get started. First, we've got some conflict going on here with you guys. I feel that it feels like office politics. So those of you who have a career or go to, who have a steady career or go to work a lot, it might involve the people you work with, or those of you who are in school, it might involve your classmates, that kind of thing. Although this could be in any setting, but it's just the energy I get from it is very like, just office politics type things. It could be like in a, like if you go to, like for example, if you go to a church, it's really, it could be like a little like a clique within that where they're all just kind of arguing, or and it's like, it's something about this tension, okay, between 2 or more people around you. It's going to make you feel really like you're not going to know what to do. And it might be because you don't know which side to take, or you kind of see a lot of the different, perspectives, or it could just be that there's turmoil there and it's making you feel anxious, okay? It's like, and I really feel like for that, it's like, it's like, it might not even directly have to do with this, but it'll just aggravate an already anxious mindset. I really feel like you guys might be overthinking some things. And I'm also getting that this tension might be with a romantic partner too, or somebody who's really important to you. Okay, but here's the thing: the Page of Cups that comes up, and it's like, the kind of advice here, because look at how ridiculous this is. He wants a cup of water, but he's got a fish in there, right? I mean, he's just really awkward with his feelings, right? Because water, the water's, the cups, it's all about emotions and going deep and that kind of thing. What this is telling me is that if you can get into that perspective of just watching how ridiculous people act when they're being irrational, when they're bickering and that kind of thing, then that absurdity, just like the absurdity of having a fish in this cup, will help bring some humor into it and a different kind of perspective there. Another thing, this is the energy this week for you, okay? So walking away, this is really, telling you that this week is the week to just walk away from things that are upsetting for you, okay? Understand that walking away does not mean that people can't follow you and learn from that. Walking away this week doesn't mean you have to stay gone. It's just talking about taking a break, the door, it opens and closes both ways. You can go through it in both directions. It's just right now the energy of this week is about walking away from this, just trying to remove yourself from any tension, okay, and trying to bring that kind of humor back and really get in touch with your own feelings about this. And when we walk away, be really grateful that you have this opportunity to really examine the dynamics of what's going on around you guys, okay? Because when you have dynamics like the Five of Wands, coupled with the dynamics of the Eight of Swords, this is a lot of tension, and so be grateful that you are able to walk away, and be grateful that you are able to remain poised enough to, step aside and see it for what it is, okay? So kind of backing this up with the walking away is a scythe. The scythe cuts things out, So it's like you're just going to cut it out, this week. You're just, and then the keys coming up, like that's the answer. Cutting something out is the answer for you this week, okay? So, when I say it's not the most uplifting message, what I mean is it's not great to hear, well, there's going to be some tension this week, but it's also shows us that this is an improvement. You're going to be improving this week within the arena of socializing and that tension and everything. So I really feel like you're going to end up feeling a lot better by the end of the week. Okay. And understand, I just want to point out that sometimes it's really hard not to engage with this kind of behavior, this kind of energy and everything. I have problems with it myself. I can work myself up into an anxiety like very easily, and sometimes it's like I just want to point out how people are wrong, or give advice about how to make things better, that kind of thing, and that can be really, it's almost like seductive sometimes. So walking away, even if you don't walk away from it this week, at least you have that kind of anchored in your mind right now, where you're like, okay, okay, I could walk away, but maybe I still want to engage, just to see how that plays out. At least you have that in your mind now, okay? Because it's like, this is the energy. This is what the energy wants you to do. But that doesn't mean you have to do it that way, okay? So, good luck with that. I really think that you're going to be feeling much better by the end of the week, though, and that is something good to focus on. All right, guys? Okay, hi. Those of you who picked the fourth pile, the green pile, here we go. We've got the Knight of Pentacles. Whoa, the King of Pentacles. And the Ace of Cups. We also have Patience. This is the energy this week. We have Healing. Oh, and we have the Lilies, followed by the Ring. Okay, I'm going to have to just kind of take a moment here, because this is some pretty heavy stuff for me personally. I'm sure anybody who's followed my channel knows that I'm a little bit uncomfortable talking about sexual stuff, but it looks like we're really in our physical bodies this week. Those of you who picked this pile, okay? We've got the Knight of Pentacles offering some kind of material, physical thing, right? And then, just in case you don't know, we've also got the King of Pentacles here that's offering something physical, okay? And then we have the Ace of Cups, which is talking about new emotions, okay? Deepening emotions and things like that. We have Patience. This is the energy this week, which is kind of an interesting thing. And then we have Healing, okay? And this is your advice card. Take advantage of any opportunity you have this week to heal, and be patient with yourself if you're not getting to 100% yet, okay? The healing process is a process, okay? So kind of keep that in mind. But the gesture of having a Knight of Pentacles and a King of Pentacles here, I mean, it's really clear to me with this that we're talking about some kind of physical move, okay? Some kind of physical movement, most likely sexual, towards you, okay? And it's something that brings about very, very deep emotions, okay? So I do think that this is going to be, this week is going to be focusing on intimacy, okay? Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be sex. It could just be, becoming more comfortable with being physically around other people. I know that some people, I mean, very... honestly, I'm just being honest myself, I have issues with that, and for me, physical touch is a big deal. So it could just be that you're getting more, more comfortable with that. Or it could just be that you're feeling good in your body, you're feeling sexy, you're feeling like you really got it. But here we've got it repeated, okay? And so that's why I think that this message is especially strong, because we've got the lilies, and the lilies, yes, it does have to do with patience, because we're talking about something, that's kind of, sometimes it feels like a little stagnant, okay? But mostly the lilies is about sex, okay? The lilies represent sexuality in the Lenormand. When you have that with the ring, we've got this interesting dynamic where we've got something coming together. It's like you're forming some kind of new contract, either with the person that you're being intimate with, or maybe even with yourself. Now, the ring can also talk about cycles, but it is not as... it's not talking about cycles as much as the moon does, for example, okay? But I do want to mention that because this could be something that's like a cyclic thing for you, where this theme just keeps coming up, and maybe it's something that you need to work through with your emotions, and you've got to be patient with yourself. Because when I see sex and healing, being brought into the same thing, it does evoke the idea of, maybe past unfortunate experiences with being intimate, and so I do want to make sure that I'm very sensitive to that, and that, that could be another layer of what's going on for some of you guys. Whatever this is, though, if it does end up being a sexual experience, this person is safe, okay? This person's sticking around. They're not going anywhere. Now, of course, the ring kind of implies that there might be a proposal. Now, it's not always that, but I can't just leave that out, because that is the one of the traditional meanings of this particular card. But when I see this card, I think about unions. I mean, really unions, that's the best way to put it. It's like coming together, uniting. It could indicate a business partner, it could indicate a love partner, and that kind of thing. Bottom line here, something materialistic, something physical is going to be coming at you, and it's going to evoke a lot of emotions, okay? For some of you, this might not have anything to do with sex, but it's just that the sexual overtones are so strong in this particular reading that it seems like that's the obvious thing that it's going to be, okay? Again, be patient with yourself, and know that this is a week where you're working on healing yourself, okay? So whether the healing is about physical intimacy, or it's about something else, like going really deep with your feelings, that kind of stuff, whatever comes up that feels a little uncomfortable, like, oh, I've got to work on that, that kind of thing, really examine that. Examine your beliefs about things, and see if you can challenge yourself to come to new understanding, okay? All right, so this is a really interesting reading, guys. I'd be interested if anybody wants to share what ends up happening this week, who's picked this pile, okay? All right. Hi, those of you who picked the red butterfly, we have the Two of Wands. I want to say this is my long distance relationship card, or one of them. So I do want to acknowledge that. But I mean, this can also mean somebody who's worldly, somebody who wants to travel, somebody who's very knowledgeable, that kind of thing. I mean, it doesn't have to mean that, but I do mention when I see that. We've got the Seven of Wands, and we have the Four of Wands. Okay, so this tells me that this week is going to be very fiery, very passionate, and you'll probably be feeling a lot of creative energy, okay? Make sure you get an outlet for that creative energy. Just do something creative. You can write, you can draw, you can paint, you can play music, you can dance, just whatever it is that you yourself put your creative energy into, whether it's like cooking or knitting or whatever it is. Make sure that you're expressing yourself, because that's the kind of energy there. So we have strength here, okay? So that's letting us know that this does need to be tempered with some, I feel like in this case, the strength card is really having to do more with discipline than it does with that, with like literally being strong. But it feels like there's also like a component of this kind of energy is going to be creating an environment inside of you where you're going to feel like being a little bit more impulsive. Now, impulsivity is fine. You can't, I mean, when you take little risks here and there, you end up getting really unique experiences and stuff like that. So that's great. But this does counsel towards a little bit more discipline. This actually might also mean that you're going to be feeling like you want to be more disciplined. But really the energy of the moment this week is going to be more fiery. So it could be telling us that, maybe this is what you need to listen to. Okay, so just understand that these are balancing forces, okay? Your advice card is great. We've got truth. Okay, so find your creative truth, okay? And we have the Mountain, okay, followed by the Rider. So this is a really interesting combination as well. The Mountain usually represents obstacles, okay? But when we've got the Rider right next to it modifying it, we've got like, this obstacle is going to be very quickly overcome, okay? So if at any time in this week you just run into a brick wall and you're like, oh no, what am I going to do? Understand that you're going to be able to basically, it's almost like you're going to be able to jump over that obstacle really easily. And you are also going to be able to get some kind of information from that, because see, the Rider typically represents like a mailman or a mail person. We've got the mail bag here depicted in this particular card. So there's this like idea of there being a message or a realization, It doesn't have to necessarily be an actual message. It could, it doesn't necessarily have to be a message from another person. It could be a message that we get through our experiences inside of us. But yeah, truth is your advice. So make sure you're being really honest with yourself. Okay, and let me just speak a little bit more on these. You're going to be feeling like pursuing more knowledge, which definitely goes with the truth stuff, so that makes sense. You will be noticing that you'll be wanting to kind of just plow through things, and some people aren't going to like that. It's like you just want to move forward, and don't let that discourage you. I think that might be tied to the obstacle. And don't worry about, because I feel like this isn't about actually missing an opportunity. I feel like this is about being afraid that if you don't spend this energy now, like you're not going to be able to do it in the future. I feel like this card's just letting us know, hey, you can slow down if you want. If you want, you can slow down. This isn't something that necessarily has to get done this week. So I really feel like you're going to be inspired, being moved to do something. Maybe you'll, get interested in a new subject or something like that. And, this is just talking about discipline. This is also talking about, you can slow down. You don't have to necessarily do it all at once. And then with the truth, it's just like, let's find out what is true in this situation. And for those of you who have difficulty trying to apply that card to the rest of the, the rest of the energy, it's like, just ask yourself what is and what isn't. And then in between that will be what needs to be. And I feel like this creative energy is what is going to bring through you what needs to be in order for what isn't to turn into what is. So, I say that that's going to be more clear, and I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, I must have sounded totally insane. But you know what? That's how it came out. So I'm going with it. You guys are going to have a really interesting week. Remember, if there is an obstacle that comes up, something that just kind of gets in your way, it could be a person, understand that it's going to be overcome very quickly. Okay? All right, guys. This is a great week for you guys, too. Right, hi. Those of you who picked the blue butterfly, pile number 6. Oh my goodness, we've got some great cards. We've got the Chariot, we've got the Fool, okay, we've got the Page of Swords, we've got Door to Personal Healing and Happiness. Okay, wow, you're really working on yourself this week. I mean, we've also got 2 major arcana cards. Okay, yeah, we've got the Tower followed by the Tree, and then we also have Freedom. Oh, interesting. Okay, this is a really fun read here. So you're going to be really moving forward, okay? The Chariot is about moving forward, but it's also about balancing those tension of opposites, okay? And if you want to go ahead and research tension of opposites, do a Google search for it. It's a concept in psychodynamic theory of psychology, where it's like sometimes we have difficulty. A really common one is our head might not agree with our hearts, right? And being able to move forward when our head and our heart are maybe in disagreement is being able to hold those tension of opposites and be okay with it. And I feel like that's what the Chariot's talking about here, because we've got the black and the white Sphinx. And it's like being able to move forward with this kind of new understanding by the marriage of both of those, okay? Creating like a synthesis of a new thing. When we've got the Fool and the Door to Personal Healing and Happiness, I really feel like this is going to be a time where you're going to be able to take a risk that you've been afraid to take. And it doesn't have to be big. It can be just something really small. But whatever this risk is, you're going to be learning something really great from it. It's almost like you're starting some kind of journey. With the Chariot, of course, the Chariot's you've got that movement there, that journey, right? So it's like, it's like, it really feels like you're starting something new, okay? But it's more like you're making it happen. It's like that you're ready to make this happen rather than it's coming to you. It's like you're bringing it to the world. So that's really beautiful. And then we've got this Page of Swords here, which is just kind of underscoring that this is going to take your thinking to the next level, okay? So however you've been looking, like your perspective, however you've been looking at things, it's almost like you're freeing yourself from the limitations you've put on your mind before. And by doing this and balancing that tension of opposites, you're able to become more happy and start a healing process. And I really do think that the healing process has to do with the idea of risk and being able to just be like, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to move forward. I'm going to do whatever thing, whatever thing it is. And I'm actually getting also that this isn't going to necessarily be a painful thing. Okay. So if you're worried about pain in this particular situation, you'll be fine. I don't feel like this is going to be painful at all. It'll be very easy. And just to kind of underscore it, we've got the Tower. Now the Tower can represent organizations, but intuitively what I'm getting is the Tower represents just you yourself, because when we, look at fairy tale and myth, people get locked in towers and they're all by themselves, right? So this is kind of like an introvert card for me. It's like you're really working on yourself this week. And that's where the focus is supposed to be. And then we've got the tree, which underscores the healing and the happiness here, because the tree represents health. Okay. It also can point to areas of the brain, you know, so it's also referencing this, like, being able to clear your mind with your thinking. And I feel like the freedom is more like intellectual freedom. It's like this, the ability to process information in a different way. So I really feel like this is a big week for you, really big week, and you're going to be able to bring a lot of really, you know, really new things in your life that are going to be positive for you. Okay, so you're moving in the right direction. Wow, that's good. This is great. This is great. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for staying till the end of my video. I really appreciate it. As always, I can't say enough how much I really appreciate each and every one of you. I have been so thrilled with the way that this channel has grown. And I really look forward to publishing a lot more content in the future, and I'm really excited about it. I just wanted to kind of throw out there that Shannon, my business partner, he sure is getting ready to start offering readings himself. So I do want to mention that. I don't know if he's actually going to go through it with it, but I mean, he's just so talented. He really, really is. And it comes to him naturally. And I really think that he would be a great, you know, person to help me, you know, with you guys. And I'd really like to start featuring him a lot more on the channel, which is something that we've talked about and we're absolutely going to start doing. Okay, guys? So I'm really excited about that. I've got content for the whole rest of the week. The only thing that might limit me is we've got some storms coming through, so that might limit me, but other than that, it should be going up every day. Okay, if it hasn't gone up every day, then it'll go up all on one day probably. All right, guys, so again, thank you guys so much. I really, really appreciate all of you guys, and thank you so much for the great energy you bring.